Hello and welcome to our channel. If you're in your 20s or 30s and want to take control of your finances, you're in the right place. In this video, we'll be discussing one of the most essential financial skills, budgeting. We'll cover everything from understanding your expenses to creating a realistic budget and sticking to it. Let's get started. Understanding your expenses means knowing exactly where your money is going. It involves identifying and categorizing your expenses, including fixed expenses, example, rent, utilities, variable expenses, example, groceries, entertainment, and discretionary expenses, example, dining out, travel. When you are aware of all your expenses, you can make informed decisions about how to allocate your money and prioritize your spending. Tracking your spending habits allows you to identify your spending patterns and behaviors. It helps you to understand your spending habits, such as impulsive purchases, unnecessary expenses, or overspending in certain areas. By tracking your spending, you can pinpoint areas where you may be overspending and make adjustments to your budget accordingly. Understanding your expenses and tracking your spending habits are essential for creating a realistic budget. A budget is a plan that helps you manage your money effectively and allocate your resources according to your financial goals. When you have a clear understanding of your expenses and spending habits, you can create a budget that reflects your actual spending patterns and financial situation. This ensures that your budget is realistic and achievable, increasing the chances of sticking to it. Tracking your spending also helps you identify areas where you can make improvements. It may reveal unnecessary expenses or highlight areas where you can cut back to save money or pay off debt. For example, if you notice that you are spending a significant portion of your income on dining out or entertainment, you can adjust your budget to allocate less money to these discretionary expenses and redirect those funds towards savings or other financial goals. Tracking your spending habits allows you to monitor your progress towards your financial goals. You can see how well you are sticking to your budget and whether you are on track to achieve your financial objectives. It also helps you to identify any deviations from your budget and take corrective actions, such as reducing expenses or increasing savings, to get back on track. In conclusion, understanding your expenses and tracking your spending habits are critical steps in creating and sticking to a budget. They provide you with the necessary awareness, insights, and data to make informed financial decisions, set realistic financial goals, and monitor your progress towards financial success. It's an essential skill to develop for managing your money effectively and achieving your financial aspirations.
As part of understanding your expenses, it's important to consider the different types of expenses you may have. Broadly speaking, expenses can be divided into two main categories: fixed expenses and variable expenses. Fixed expenses are costs that don't change from month to month, or are set for a particular period of time. These expenses are typically non-negotiable and must be paid regularly to maintain a certain standard of living. Examples of fixed expenses include rent or mortgage payments, car payments or lease agreements, property taxes or homeowners association fees, insurance premiums, for example, health, car, home, subscription services, for example, Netflix, Spotify, gym membership, phone or internet bills, utilities, for example, electricity, water, gas. Variable expenses, on the other hand, are costs that can fluctuate from month to month and are generally more discretionary in nature. These expenses are often dependent on your lifestyle choices and can be adjusted based on your needs and priorities. Examples of variable expenses include groceries and dining out, clothing and personal care products, entertainment and leisure activities, gifts and donations, transportation costs, for example, gas, public transit, ride-sharing services, travel expenses, for example, flights, hotels, rental cars. It's important to note that some expenses may fall somewhere in between fixed and variable. For example, a car payment could be considered a fixed expense because it's a regular payment that doesn't change month to month, but the amount could be variable depending on the interest rate or length of the loan. Understanding the different types of expenses can help you prioritize your spending and make informed decisions about where to allocate your money in your budget. By knowing your fixed expenses, you can set aside the necessary funds and plan your budget around them. Variable expenses, on the other hand, may require more flexibility and can be adjusted as needed to stay within your budget.
Let's move on the last part for the section Understanding Your Expense by finding some practical tips on how to track expenses and the importance of accuracy and consistency in doing so. First one is choose a tracking method that works for you. There are several ways to track expenses, including budgeting apps, spreadsheets, or simply keeping a notebook or using an envelope system. Choose a method that fits your lifestyle and is easy for you to maintain. Second tip is create a budget and stick to it. Before you start tracking your expenses, create a budget that includes your income, fixed expenses, and discretionary spending. Use your budget as a guide to help you stay on track and prioritize your spending. Third is categorize your expenses. To get a clear picture of where your money is going, it's important to categorize your expenses into different categories such as rent/mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, etc. This will help you identify areas where you may be overspending and make adjustments accordingly. Fourth is be consistent and accurate. In order for tracking expenses to be effective, it's important to be consistent and accurate. This means logging every expense, no matter how small, and doing so on a regular basis. Set a reminder to track your expenses daily or weekly to ensure you don't miss anything. Fifth tips is review your spending regularly. Make it a habit to review your spending regularly to identify areas where you may need to cut back or adjust. This will help you stay on track with your budget and make any necessary changes to your spending habits. And the last tips is use tools and resources. There are many budgeting apps and tools available that can help you track your expenses and stay on budget. Consider using an app like Mint, Personal Capital, or an app to make tracking expenses easier and more convenient. By tracking your expenses accurately and consistently, you can gain a better understanding of your spending habits and make informed decisions about your finances. Remember, budgeting is a process that requires discipline and consistency, but the benefits of financial stability and success are well worth the effort. Let's move to the second part of our Budgeting 101 session. Here we will discuss how to create a realistic budget. The first part of this section is process of creating a budget. Let's get started. Calculate your total monthly income. The first step in creating a budget is to determine your total monthly income. This includes all sources of income, such as your salary, tips, commissions, bonuses, and any other income streams you may have. Once your income is identified, find your fixed and variable expenses as we explained in previous section. Allocate funds to savings and debt repayment. Once you've identified your fixed and variable expenses, it's important to allocate funds to savings and debt repayment. Set aside a portion of your income for emergency savings and debt repayment, such as credit card debt or student loans. Create a budget spreadsheet or use a budgeting app. Creating a budget spreadsheet or using a budgeting app can help you keep track of your income and expenses, and stay on track with your budget. Input all of your income and expenses into the spreadsheet or app and categorize them accordingly. Monitor and adjust your budget. Once you've created your budget, it's important to monitor your spending and adjust your budget as needed. Review your spending regularly to identify areas where you may need to cut back or adjust, and make changes to your budget accordingly. Remember, creating a budget is a process that requires discipline and consistency, but it's an important step towards financial stability and success. By following these steps and being mindful of your spending, you can take control of your finances and achieve your financial goals.